So before going into filters, let us look at something called as diffraction grating. Diffraction grating എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഫിൽട്ടർ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ബേസിക്കലി നമ്മുടെ ഉദ്ദേശം എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ മൾട്ടിപ്പിൾ വേവ് ലെങ്സ് ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ we will need to extract out a single particular wavelength of our choice. അതാണ് ബേസിക്കലി ഫിൽറ്ററിങ്. ഇപ്പം ഫ്രീക്വൻസി ഫിൽറ്റേഴ്സ് നിങ്ങൾ DSP-യിലൊക്കെ പഠിക്കുമ്പോൾ you see that the signal might have a lot of frequencies and you want to extract out a particular frequency. Similarly, in optical systems, you have large number of wavelengths which will be coming, carrying information and propagating to the fiber and reaching the receiver. So at the receiver, you need to take it out each and every wavelength so that you can decode the information. So അതിൻ്റെ ഒരു സ്റ്റാർട്ടിംഗ് എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ഒരു കാര്യമാണ് ഈ ഡിഫ്രാക്ഷൻ ഗ്രേറ്റിംഗ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. So diffraction grating consists of a large number of slits. ചെറിയൊരു സ്ലിറ്റ് ഉണ്ട് ഇവിടെ, ഇതാണ് സ്ലിറ്റ്. Okay, there's a slit here, there's a slit here, slit here, slit here, slit here, slit here. Okay, and then your light is getting incident over this slit. Now this light have a lot of wavelengths, so this will have lambda 1, lambda 2 up to lambda n, where there are a lot of wavelengths. So what happens is when this light passes through the slits, now there is an imaging plane here. Okay, so this whatever you see here is called as a wavefront. The curved lines are called as wavefront. Now what do you mean by a wavefront? Let's say you have a wave something like this. Assume the wave is going like this. Now you assume that you are considering any particular point P. Now how the wave travels, or how this point P travels along the wave is called as a wavefront. For example, this is one wavefront. Now the P will reach here after wave traveling in time t. So the P will reach here. So this is the next wavefront. So all these curved lines you can say as the wavefronts of different waves, because you have a light incident which have a large number of wavelengths. Basically it means it has a large number of waves and you are considering a wavefront. Now when this light is wavefront incident on the imaging plane, only those wavefronts which superimposes constructivity will cause a bright spot or will have the corresponding wavelength present. So if some wavelengths incident on the imaging plane, destructivity, it will gets cancelled out. So basically you have filtered out all those wavelengths which have incident constructivity. Now how will you choose which wavelength have incident constructivity? That is based on this equation. D is the distance between two slits and theta is the angle from the horizontal. M is an integer. You can take 0, plus or minus 1, plus or minus 2, etc. So all these wavelengths lambda for a particular angle theta will have a constructive interference which makes sure that the wave exists in that diffraction grating. So if you look at this B part of this figure, you see that you have two wavelengths, lambda 1 and lambda 2. It passes through the imaging plane. This is basically the diffraction grating. Now, when it passes, each wavelength might have a different angle for which it will have a constructive interference. So theta 1 angle is for the first lambda 1, theta 2 angle is for the second lambda 2. So if the wave is incident at theta 1, then lambda 1 will be available. If the wave is incident at theta 2, then lambda 2 will be available. Okay, since you have a large number of slits, it is possible that at some point in some of the slit lambda 1 is available, in some other slits lambda 2 is available, and then you can separate that down. This is called as a diffraction grating. So basically you have filtered out the wavelength, a combination of wavelengths from your light. So diffraction grating is kind of, you can say, a basic stuff in optical filterings. So optical filter, it allows only one wavelength to pass through it, blocking all other things. So in diffraction grating, you are not blocking any particular wavelength, you are filtering out all the wavelengths. An optical filter will make sure that there is only one wavelength which is passing through it and blocks all others. And your optical filters can be classified into fixed filters and tunable filters. Now, fixed filters allow a fixed predetermined wavelength to pass through. For example, let's say a light is coming through optical fiber, and now you know that at wavelength, let's say 100 nanometer, you have the information. So you will design a fixed filter in front of the fiber, and you will extract that particular wavelength, let's say 100 nanometer, because you don't care about all other wavelengths. It might be information, but that information might not be for you. It might be for some other people. But you will make sure that your information is filtered out. This is called as a fixed wavelength filter. And then this is called as a tunable filter, which dynamically tune the selected wavelength. For example, let's say I have information which is available in wavelengths, let's say lambda 1, lambda 2, and lambda 3. Now, through the fiber, the wave is propagating. It will have wavelengths from lambda 1 to lambda 100, for example. But you know you want to extract out lambda 1, lambda 2, lambda 3. So you create a tunable filter in such a way that you can change some parameters of this tunable filter to extract lambda 1 at some point of time, lambda 2 at some other point of time, and lambda 3 at some other point of time. Or you can extract all these three wavelengths at a time also. That is by adjusting some parameter of this filter. This is called as a tunable filter. Okay. So this is basically a block diagram of a tunable filter. You see that the input is lambda 1. So sorry, this is a block diagram of optical filter. So the input is lambda 1 up to lambda n, and the output is lambda k, means there is one wavelength. And it can be either lambda 1 or lambda 2 or lambda n, whichever it is possible. Okay. So basically when you represent it using this kind of spectrum, you see that for ideally the wavelength at which you want to extract will have higher gain, and all the other wavelengths will have zero gain, so that you will have only the wavelength extracted. But in real scenario, it will be something like this, where you will not be able to have an extract cutoff wavelength. Okay, some other wavelengths also will come into picture. Now, thin film interference filter is a commonly used fixed filter. For example, so in this case, let's say you fix lambda. You have some wave incident here, which will have lambda 1, lambda 2, lambda, and let's say lambda n. Okay. Now, this thin film interference filter will make sure that you will get out, or you will filter out only lambda. Now, how does it work is, the thin film interference filter have multiple layers. Each layer is separated by a distance of lambda by 4. So the wave which has a wavelength of lambda will have a phase difference of pi here and another pi here, which means effectively the wave will have total phase difference of 360 degrees. So whatever lambda which is incident at the bottom, when it goes up, it will get constructively interfered with the wavelength lambda. And for all other wavelengths, it will have a destructive interference. So that the wavelength which is coming out will be only lambda. By changing this distance between the layers, for example, let's say this is lambda 1 by 4, this is lambda 1 by 4. If you just change the distance between the layers, depending on which wavelength you want to filter out, that will allow you to get that wavelength. So this is called as a thin film interference filter. This is Fabry-Perot resonator. This you might have already seen. I think we have seen in our second module when we discussed about lasers. So Fabry-Perot resonator consists of two mirrors with some reflectivity. Okay, ideally 100%. And only one wavelength will exist in this in between these two mirrors which satisfies this condition. That is, if a wavelength need to exist inside this Fabry-Perot resonator, then the waves should superimpose constructively. That means the zero crossings should be at the ends or at the mirrors. So here L is the length of this distance between the mirrors. N is basically an integer, can take values 1, 2, etc. etc. So if I want to design a Fabry-Perot resonator for a wavelength, let's say lambda 1, you will fix L and you will fix N. So for that particular L and N, it will produce a standing wave only for lambda 1 wavelength. All other wavelengths will have a destructive interference and it will get destroyed. So you have filtered out only one particular wavelength. Next is multi-cavity filters and dielectric thin film multi-cavity filters, or DTMF. So here the working is exactly same as that of our thin film interference filter, where instead of in thin film interference filter you have only two layers, Fabry-Perot filter, Fabry-Perot resonator. In Fabry-Perot resonator you have only one such mirror at both ends and there's a space. But in DTMF, you will have multiple such mirrors, okay? Because once you create a wavelength inside, you want to extract it out, or it is possible that due to the non-ideality of the mirrors and the cavity inside, instead of one wavelength, you will have multiple wavelengths, okay? Let's say initially you will start with 100, then you might end up in the first cavity maybe around 30. Now you need to filter out 30 again, so that you should finally end up with having only one wavelength. So what you can do is you can filter out the 30, the second cavity, to reduce it to 10, and go to the next cavity to reduce it to 5, to next cavity to reduce it to 1. So you see that when there is one cavity, the range of wavelength is high. When there are 3 cavities, the range has decreased. When there are 5 cavities, the range has decreased again. So when you have more number of cavities, you will have a wavelength only this one. So by increasing the number of cavities, you can filter out exactly how much amount of wavelengths you want. This is called as DTMF. So that's about fixed filters. Now let's look at tunable filters. So as I have told earlier, the tunable filters means that you can adjust some parameter of the filter so that you can filter out one wavelength at one time and another wavelength at some other time. Okay, so that's why this arrow mark is called as tunable. So you have lambda 1, lambda 2 up to lambda n, and you can filter out lambda m at some point of time. For example, at some point of time, you might filter out m equal to 1. Some other time, you will filter out m equal to n. Okay. So Fabry-Perot tunable filter is one commonly used tunable filter. So the working is a similar one. You see there is a fiber. So there is an input fiber in which the wave is propagating. Okay. Now these are mirrors. Okay. So the Fabry-Perot filter or Fabry-Perot resonator, you need to have two mirrors. Okay. And here the mirror is constructed at the end of two fibers. One is the input fiber and one is the output fiber. And the whole setup is in a piezo ceramic structure. Piezo ceramic means by applying some kind of a mechanical force, you can adjust the properties of that material. Okay. So the wave comes in, it will create the wavelength of your desired wavelength in this one. And then because of this wavelength, you have extracted. Now it should be tunable. That means I should adjust some parameters so that I can extract some other wavelength, let's say lambda 2. Now, how will I do that? So what you do is you will apply pressure on this piezo ceramic crystal. Now, when you apply pressure on this piezo ceramic crystal, the distance L between the mirrors will get adjusted. And you know that 2L by N is equal to lambda N. So by changing N, without changing any of the parameters, you can change the wavelength which you want to filter it out. Okay, so the working is purely based on this piezo ceramic material. By applying some mechanical stress on this piezo ceramic material, there you can create a change in length or change in distance between the two mirrors of the fiber, which will change the wavelength, or which will change the wavelength which produces a standing wave in between these two mirrors. And this can be extracted out to this fiber to get the output signal. This is fiber Fabry-Perot tunable filter. Next is diffraction grating. Actually, this we have already seen. You see that d sine theta is equal to m lambda. Okay, so for a particular m and a lambda, you have a particular theta. By changing the theta or the incident angle, you can change the lambda you want to get extracted. So you see that you can create the diffraction grating in this 90-degree. Now you change or you tilt the diffraction grating again with some angle. By tilting this, you will change the lambda which has filtered out. So diffraction grating filter is a very simple technique where you just change the incident angle by changing the position of the diffraction grating, which will help you in getting the required wavelength. Now, another kind of DTMF is a structure in which by changing the position or rotating of the material, you can create the filtered lambda. So by this one, you might get filtered lambda 1. By this one, you might get filtered lambda 2. Okay. And one of the most important tunable filter is Mach Zehnder interferometer. So Mach Zehnder interferometer tunable or Mach Zehnder interferometer we have already seen, maybe in I think one of our third module or something, where we say that we found that if so the Mach Zehnder interferometer is something like this. So there is an input here. Okay, it comes here. There's a mirror. There's a mirror here. There's a mirror here. There's a mirror here. And there is a receiver. So this is receiver 1. And there is another receiver, which is here, receiver 2. Okay. So the light which is struck on this mirror can go to receiver 2 and receiver 1 in multiple paths. For example, this is one path. This is another path for receiver 1. Similarly, for receiver 2, you can have like this, or you can have like this. Two different paths. So basically, depending, you can adjust the position of the mirrors. These are all mirrors, such that you can say how much phase shift you want for each of this at the output of each of the receiver 1 and 2. So this is basically the Mach Zehnder interferometer. Now, how the filtering works is, let's say you have different frequencies here. Okay, there's a 3 dB coupler. It will make sure that it will decouple, or this is like decoupling, and this is coupling. So this is like you have multiple lights coming in, which will give it into 2 separate branches. There's a phase shifter here, and the phase shifter will change the phase of the one which is traveling through it. and there is a coupler here which will mix the signals, and when it comes out, the output will be filtered. Okay, by changing the parameters of this tunable filter, you can make sure that you can either have F2 F4 here or F1 F3. Okay, so one end is the desired frequency or wavelength, and the other end will be the rejected ones. Okay, to make you understand it better, let's say there is lambda 1, lambda 2, lambda 3, lambda 4 here. You have the coupler here. Okay, now the coupler will make sure that there are two branches of light or two branches of optical signals. And by changing something like a voltage of the phase shifter, it will change the phase shift of the wavelength which is passing through that branch, basically through this branch. And it will couple it here, and it will, once, because of the change in phase shift, only those wavelengths which are desired will be coming in this branch, and this is the rejected wavelengths. So this is Mach Zehnder interferometer. Similarly, you have electro-optic tunable filters. So this is based on electro-optic effect. Electro-optic effect is by applying some voltage, you will be able to change the refractive index of a material. This is what is an electro-optic effect, which we have already seen. So electro-optic tunable filters consists of basically like two components and three stages. This is a polarization splitter, which is at starting and at the end. And there's a resonance structure. Okay, this 1, 2, 3, 4 actually represents the different wavelengths. Those polarization splitter will split the polarization of the input wave. Okay, for example, this might be TE, transverse electric and transverse magnetic wave, the input. So this polarization splitter will split into transverse electric and transverse magnetic wave. Okay, in the resonance structure, there will be some kind of a tunable parameter change by which you will be able to change some properties of the input polarized wave, which when transmitted to the second polarization splitter will split into the desired wavelengths. Okay, for example, in this one, you see there are n wavelengths. You have TE plus TM. So the input polarization splitter has split into TE wave and TM wave. Now this is an electro-optic tunable filter. So basically these are multiple finger layers in this filter. By applying the voltage, the refractive index of these layers will be changed, so that the amount of reflection which is happening for TE and TM will change. And it is also possible that there will be a change in the angle of polarization. So once it comes out, you see that the TE has changed to TM and TM has changed to TE. The output polarization is basically a combiner. So when it combines, you see that all the desired wavelength will be appearing in one branch, and all others will be, the rejected wavelengths will be appearing in the other branch. This is called an electro-optic tunable filter. Similar to electro-optic tunable filter, you have aquesto-optic tunable filter. The mechanism is same, except that instead of applying an input voltage here, you actually apply an input RF signal, and there's a transducer, and there's a surface acoustic wave. So we know that aquesto-optics means that by changing the refractive index of a material by applying some kind of an acoustic wave, for example, sound wave. So by applying a sound wave, you are changing the refractive index of the fingers, which will change the reflection of the polarized waves. It might also change the polarizing angle, which when it after getting combined at the output, it will produce only one particular wavelength, which is called selected wavelength, and all others will be rejected. To get a 3D picture, it is something like this. Okay, so you have all the lambda coming here. There is a transducer here, and there is a surface acoustic wave. So the acoustic wave will be supplied through this material, and there will be change in refractive index while the light propagates. And once it combines here by the polarization splitter at the end, you will get the desired wavelengths. So it can have, for example, in this case, you can get output two different wavelengths. and this will get, these are the wavelengths which are actually rejected. Okay, so this is the Aquisto optic filters. Okay, so this is about the filters for optical communication. I think this is a very small topic. I will upload the lecture also, so that you can just read through it. So just to remind you, today is the deadline to submit the assignment. Today, I think I have set the deadline as